gentlemen, there's a couple holidays, I guess you could say, but it's
Hey,
420.
There is.
So happy 420 out there,
Yes.
clap it up,
everybody.
clap it up.
Yo, everybody out there, let us know what you're
I must
smoking on.
admit, I
Let us know what you're
celebrated
smoking
it a bit early. I
on.
was gone last night. Last
It's-
night, I had to hit my bed with my computer still on for about an hour, and then I come out of what I'd done to myself, and then I switched my computer off and went to bed.
well,
Well,
discreet.
I brought it in well. I brought it in very well.
Well,
I'm
discreet.
not mad at
Let's
that.
say that.
No, because you have to celebrate the eve of the holiday as well. We have a Christmas Eve
Exactly.
about
Hey,
trees, right? It's about trees. Christmas is
right.
about trees. So I'm gonna bring Disha and but yo, so yeah, 420. What up, Disha? What up, Disha?
But
So for
Oh,
for
here we go.
for
There you go.
420, we
I have
gotta.
like all my stuff set up on the other one.
You're
Yeah, I went
good.
a
You're
bit too
good.
far last night.
We're just talking briefly, real quick, before we officially get started, because we just opened the door outside. So real quick, Disha, thank you for opening that door with us and
Nice
with
to meet you.
passion today. You
I
got this.
couldn't link my social media. I was trying to like link all my social media.
You'll be good if it is linked. It'll let me know, and if not, we're gonna run the show again, so we can get you that link. That way, if you want to run it off of your own social media at some point, you'll have the ability to do that. Because I'm happy to send you guys the raw video when we're all said and done. So we got you. We got you on the back end. But yeah, we're just talking about and wishing everybody a happy 420. It is a holiday today. So we
And
got
Easter.
Yeah,
and Easter. Happy Easter to
Mm.
anybody celebrating Easter out
yeah,
today. There's a couple
yeah.
different Easters in the world, right? We get out here and talk about culture. There's the Catholic Easter, the Christian Easter,
Mm.
the Orthodox Easter. So whoever
Oh,
is
good point.
celebrating an Easter today, happy Easter to you. And for anybody that's smoking with us, happy 420. But with that said, we are done
Mm.
there. As always, it is Special Guest Sunday, and today we have the privilege and the honor. We got CJ, Passion, Skinner, Passion Projects. We're definitely going to get into what that means today. And we got Disha, who's been working with him on a film project as well. And I'm sure it'll come out through the story today. But in some way, shape, or form, we're all kind of connected, already. And with some of our other guests, as I was letting discreet know, Hype Man 501, who opened that door with us about 7 months ago. I spoke with him yesterday. He's going to be back out with us on the
That's
25th,
an awesome
right?
show. Mm.
Man, it was funny. We
He's a
had a
good
lot of
guy.
laughs. We had a lot of laughs. Solid dude. So I had a good 20, 30-minute conversation with him yesterday. Solid dude that you definitely want to keep
Oh
around
yeah,
in your circle. He's one of those dudes for real. But with
absolutely,
that said,
absolutely.
CJ and Disha, I'm going to allow you the opportunity to introduce yourselves here in your own words in a quick little minute. But I just want to remind everybody out there opening that door with us. We are the We Outside Livecast. We get on here. This is not scripted. We have a free flowing, organic, and authentic conversation with people who are creatives, who are visionaries, who are artists, who are entrepreneurs, one of the four, or in some cases, maybe all of them. So y'all gonna learn something today. And with that said, I want to extend on behalf of myself and my co-host in the UK, Discreet, to CJ and to Disha Young Thing, who is joining us outside real quick. So respectively, hey man, ladies first. Disha, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and let you introduce yourself to the people outside with us today, and then CJ, when she's done, you go ahead and take your time to introduce
Absolutely.
yourself in your own words. Let the people know who you are, what y'all are about, and we're just going to get into some quick conversation from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Disha Young Thing. You can find me on like Facebook as Disha Young Thing, Instagram as Disha BB underscore Onyx Entertainment. It's BBY underscore Onyx Entertainment. So pretty much I do a lot of booking right now. I'm doing booking for shows, booking for uh, short films, movies, modeling gigs. If any kind of booking, if you're a musician, I can get you booked. So I've just been doing a lot of bookings, but I do a wide variety, different things. I do contracts, I do flyers. So I help people, with event coordinating is a large part of what I do, kind of behind the scenes work. And it's weird because I believe I met you, Wonder Mike, and CJ at one of my events that I was kind of trying to get off the ground, but never really
Mm-hmm.
launched in the direction that I wanted it to. But yeah, that's crazy. Now that we're all on here, I was like, I met them at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
at CA at the what was I called? Content Thursdays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Content Thursdays. Wonder Mike performed. He was great. I was like, dude, I was like, I don't know who this white boy is, but he dope. I was like,
You got the culture.
yeah, and he
I appreciate that.
chilled, and you were real chill with your wife, and yeah.
It was a good first performance, though. I mean, Mike sent me the video, and I told him, I was like, "You've done that well for first time. That was good."
That
You
was
know what
my
I mean?
first ever live performance.
Wow.
Mm.
First ever. So,
Yeah.
and
Big time.
one thing I'm gonna say real quick that stuck out to me from that night, Deesha, real talk. When I got off the stage, you were just like, "Yo, you got some dope stage presence." So, I appreciate that, and that stuck with me. And I've been working on a lot of things in the background since then. And I've killed off Wonder Mike. Wonder Mike is dead. I'm going by Mikey P now, Mikey P, because that's just who I am. And so I did a little rebranding with some things in the background. We're going to drop the first single here soon. It's coming soon. But there's some stuff. But enough about me. This is about y'all. So Deesha, I appreciate you taking the time to let the people know who you are. And that's going to lead us to CJ. CJ, let the people outside today, whoever's going to see this in the future, because this is going to live on our YouTube channel forever. Okay. Let them know who you are, bro, and what you're about.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm Passion Projects, or I own Passion Projects. I'm a videographer. Not only do I work and own Passion Projects and employ 2 other individuals, videographers and photographers, I also work with Elite Beats, which is a music game show that I host, kind of like a podcast segment, but it's you go and you can win cash. You can also win a music video oh, I'm hearing feedback. Anyways, and you can win a photo shoot. So those are the different things that I got going. Now I also do a Tuga vlog that's on my channel, where I'm writing a song a day and I perform it, and then I make AI rewrite it, add it to whatever content, whether if I'm shooting a music video or if I'm just shooting my everyday life, hanging out with my family, but it's a vlog, and you see me versus AI. So you see AI created and then my version,
that.
right? Yeah,
cool.
Just trying to incorporate AI. And then my newest venture that I'm working on is obviously the film. But before we get to that, I also have the Through the Lens with Passion, where I go through all of my old film work, break it down, say what I could do better, what I could do worse, all of that, or what I did do worse. And then I, try to teach young videographers and photographers what they could do better, so they don't make the same mistakes I have. So, and so I'm just a creative person. I like to put all of my energy into things that I do, and I want to put it out there to the world. I once had a millionaire tell me the number one thing that he thinks I need to do is get in front of the camera and talk. So the next day, I made Tuga vlog, and I started working, and now I'm in front of the camera talking, because that is one of the things I want to build and become better with. So, yep.
Man, I can appreciate that. And, 2 things stuck out to me from what you said there that I want to touch on. Number one, the fact that some of what you're doing is not only for your growth, but it's also to share the knowledge and mistakes that you feel that you've made as a creative in the past, and trying to drop some knowledge to anybody that's maybe, whether they're just starting in that, whatever it is, or even if they've been doing whatever that is for a number of years. Like, I think there's beauty in the knowledge and being an asset to people. I think that's just dope right there. And the fact that, you can be vulnerable enough with yourself to go back and look at yourself. I think that's something
I do that a lot. You got to pay attention to what you could be better at. You know what your weaknesses are, and just try and do better at them.
You're right, Discreet. But first, you have to be vulnerable enough to look yourself in the face, in that proverbial mirror, and be like, "Oh God, I got to go critique myself," because that's a challenge. I mean, we're all passionate people here with what we do creatively, and we're certainly going to continue to talk about that here this morning. But to really be able to do that's a challenge, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I've taken with myself in the last year as well. So I commend you for that passion, because that's a challenge to do. And then to your point, Discreet, once you're able to do that, then you got to do the work and execute on what you feel could be corrected, or even if you want to be that much more vulnerable and ask somebody for their real feedback as well, and open yourself up that way, because we're passionate about what we create, right? I think we can all agree with that, and to be vulnerable enough to share that. And if you're a true creative, if it's coming from your heart, or there's a true story or message behind it, it might be hard or challenging to hear what some of that feedback might be. And I've been a part of that before, but that's part of the growth process, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I agree. Even there's a few shows where I bring the artist or the content that the person that it was created for on the show to critique. And it can get a little sticky. It was like, I think I like that, but it's good content, it's good debate. And overall, it helps me grow. Then it also helps people that view it, like young videographers, or if you want to, deal with your clients when you have differences of opinion, right? And which is really invaluable. That's something that I had to learn just by working with clients over and over. The business side, which is sometimes the more difficult part to learn. We're all creative, but to set up the business, to build the structure how you want, whether you have the C corp like Lower Lorraine that I own, or if you have an LLC like Passion Projects, depending on what you have and how you structure it, you have different clients and different business that you need to handle, and you got to handle it right. The first thing is customer
the
service.
LLC is important, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I hear that mentioned a lot.
No, it is.
Gotta have
You got to protect yourself on so many levels.
Right.
And what you were just talking about, passion, leads me to this question. I'm gonna have I'm gonna say something real quick, and then Disha, I'd respectfully like you to answer the question first, and then CJ, go ahead and offer anything additional to that from your vantage point. But one of the things that I appreciate, as we said, with bringing different creatives and visionaries out there, I want to give both of you guys your flowers, and here's why. Because as artists, or somebody who might have some assistance in the background with you as a part of the team, whether that's a temporary on an individual project or show or something like that might be going on, or if you're a part of a team that's building something together, right? I think a lot of people forget that you need a good team around you, and when you have somebody like Passion who can help bring your vision to life, or give his creativity to life when you're doing something content wise, or as an artist, right? I'll speak for myself as an artist. If I'm going to shoot a music video, having the right person on the other side of the lens is extremely important. And I don't think that individuals like yourselves don't get enough credit. So I want to make sure that I give that credit to you, because I noticed it from my experiences, right? And I want to shine a spotlight on not only that, but Disha, here's where you come in, from what you were talking about, who you are and what you do at the top of the show. Having that partner that could be whatever title you want to give it, collaborator, manager, partner, whatever, promoter. There's a lot of different hats that you ultimately wear, right? When you're connecting with people on that level. And I think one thing that people have to realize when it comes to that as well, that you need to build solid relationships with these individuals as well. Like, for real, because again, I haven't seen Disha literally. I mean, we talk. I mean, we're gonna get her outside individually, respectively, at some point, because we were trying to do that back in like September, October. But I haven't seen her since that night of the performance, honestly. But one thing that I took away from just that experience, other than my individual experience that day, this woman is a hustler. She's out there doing her thing, because I keep an eye on her social media, so I'm connected that way. And the energy that I felt from you that night was very engaging in a very positive way. Because one thing that I noticed that night from you were on point with everything. You were making sure that Big Meech was taken care of. Shout out to her. In the DJ booth, you wanted to make sure food was correct. You want to make sure you were on point. So there's, pun intended, that you have a passion for what you do. And I'm gonna tell everybody out there right now, especially you guys that are up and coming artists or content creators of any kind, you need someone like that in your corner. That's a fact. So we're gonna make sure that all the social medias for you guys are getting dropped today. But my question after saying that to you, Disha, is how did you get started, and what makes you so passionate about being that partner to people like Passion or other individuals that you had the ability to work with or you would work with in the future?
Mm.
Oh my goodness. So how I got started is kind of crazy, but I wrote poetry, and then I dibble dabbled in, being an artist myself. And like, I just realized that there really wasn't a lot of avenues when I was looking around trying to figure out, like, how do I become integrated and what was going on for myself. And I just kind of started doing reviews on people's stuff, like clothing, events, just everything that was going on in the city. Just kind of started keeping track of what was going on in the city. Then I started doing, drops like, hey, this is what's going to happen this weekend. And that just kind of evolved into um, throwing events. I did comedy shows, I did birthday parties. Then I started doing artist showcases. And then the artist showcases really kind of elevated me to where I met a lot of people. It's the networking, like when you're out and you're at all these events and you're meeting people, that is golden. And like,
Mm.
your experience with someone, like, it carries. So I always try to be genuine. I always try to be, because I understand that everybody is here for a reason. Everybody
Mm.
is here because something is important to them. Even the spectators, they have a loved one there, they're there because it's important to them, so I always want to treat people good. I always want to find where I can fit into whatever you have got going on. I may not wear the big hat on this certain event, and that's fine with me because I've learned to let people do what they're good at, and let me kind of fall in between those cracks and fill the spaces.
Mm.
So and that's what I try to do with everything I do. And I think that's why I've been involved in so many different types of, I've worked with politicians, I've worked with artists, I've worked with musicians, I've worked with, comedians, I've worked with all types of different people, um, just doing what I do and, being genuine with people.
It sounds like you've had literally maybe thousands of clients.
Well, really, like, since I've slowed down on the artistry and like, because, I'm a mom, I work,
Yeah,
so I
it's
can't
hard.
uh, distribute all of my time like I used to. Like
Mm.
during COVID, like this is all I did,
Mm.
all I was committed to. But after COVID was over, everybody's going back to work. It did slow me down a bit, but I kind of needed that slowdown to really grasp what I was doing
Yeah.
because in this industry, you'll go, 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 and you're putting out a lot, but getting back very little. Uh,
Mm.
and I understand that that's the grind. And these last couple of years, that's what I've been focused on is really turning this into something that is stable for me. When it comes to money, when it comes to not even money, but energy, because I
Mm.
will work on a project that, hey, I don't have any money, but, I believe in this. And if I believe in that, I'll believe in it with you. You know what I'm saying? And whatever comes of it, we'll deal with it as we go. Uh,
Exactly.
you know?
No, I can appreciate
Oh,
that, and I think that's part of following the dreams that you have for yourself, right? Like you said something where it's the grind, and depending what we're doing in life, in some cases we choose that grind, right? For the dreams and the belief that we have of what we want to put out there, whether it's from the business sense, the creative sense, helping somebody achieve their creative goal or goal in
Yeah.
general. I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think I've always lived. Under the guise of listen, I mean, because we wake up every day, right? There's so many things going on around us in this world, things that are out of our control, right? And I
Um,
truly,
right.
I intentionally try to wake up every day with literally just go out and be an asset to the world today. Because if I do that one thing,
mm.
if I just focus my energy on that one thing, whatever 2 dozen additional things that I might want in my life should be a byproduct of that one thing. Just go out with good
Yeah.
intentions and being an asset to the world, whatever that means, whatever that looks like. And you're going to be good. But again, that's my opinion, my way to, it's my way
Mm.
isn't necessarily everybody's way, but it works for me. What works for me might not work for you. But from an asset standpoint, I want to talk and ask you a question, Passion, about the assets that you guys have been to each other, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody plays a role on the team, kind of like
Mm.
Disha was saying, right? You got to play your part, and then together y'all are going to achieve more if you can do that in a constructive way that's going to lead to the ultimate goal. So obviously, Disha had mentioned earlier, we all met that one Thursday night, and we didn't even know it until today, right? So
Right.
that
Right.
that's crazy. I think that's the universe speaking to us in some
Right.
way, shape, or form. But how have you guys been an asset to each other, CJ? I'll let you answer that first. And how
Absolutely.
is that important to you? Specifically on the project that you and Disha have been working on, and we certainly want to talk about that. So go ahead and plug a little bit
Yeah.
of that. All
I
right, when
got
we
you.
get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what's that relationship as an asset to each other been? I'll let you go ahead and answer that first, Passion.
Absolutely. Invaluable, right? That's
Mm.
the number one word. Just from having an idea, a concept, even though I organized it, put it all together, it's not a reality. It's having a plan, right? It's good to have a plan, and having a plan is better than not having a plan, but she helps with the execution, right? Disha is a person that says, hey, we're going to make this a reality. I want to do this. This is what I'm thinking. How can we make this happen? We can game plan. We sit together, put it together. And she say, hey, I know somebody that can do this, this, and this. Like she said, she's a wonderful networker. She's a person that can go and get it done. Let's say someone doesn't show up. Well, she's just as hungry as I am to get this dream fulfilled and get this goal, which is the film, The Cost of Beauty, that we're working on.
There's always a way.
You say it one more time.
There's always a way.
Right, right.
Mm.
100%. Yeah.
Mm.
And even if being creative, sometimes you get so focused that I gotta have it this way, I gotta have it that way. But
Mm.
Disha is a person that is fluid, and she'll help you see like, hey, we can do it this way, and we can
Yeah.
maneuver this way. And even if it has to be done, this shot needs to be done at this time at this location. Is there a way that we can possibly stretch longer times? She's always like, relax, you stress it, because I'm stressing because I want it. I'm a person that like, hey, I want it perfect, I want it right. I see this in my
Mm.
head. And she's also a person, for me, it's just a confidant, right? Like a really, really good friend at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We have grown to be friends through the business that we're working in. I could say, definitely I was speaking from, I don't want to take out of turn, but yeah, she's just a wonderful asset to my life at the end of the day. And my whole family, just we love her. So
Mm.
yeah, and then also on the flip side, she knows whatever she needs, I'm there. Like if I can be there, I'm there.
Yeah.
Whatever she calls, if she need a video done, moving, just need to talk, whatever she needs. She has a project she want to get done. Let's sit down. What's the steps, right? Like I'm good at planning, so I can give you all of the plans and steps. Now let's you can make a reality. It's a yin and yang. It's whatever you want. So
No,
yeah.
I appreciate that. And then Disha, before you answer that part of the question as well, I'm going to have you respectfully answer this question. After that connection on that Content Thursday night, how did this collaboration come to be? Because I think it's important for people to just understand again that collaboration, how it came to be, is going to be different from. But I think it's important for people to hear kind of just the generality of how that collaboration came to be, and then again,
Mm.
same thing as Passion. How have you seen the value of that collaboration with him as well?
Well, when I first met CJ, we had exchanged information and he had told me like, "Hey, I'm working on some things, but he kind of just brushed it off like it was just like, just something little, it ain't nothing. But I'm working on some things. So the more that we talked and he said, "Hey, I'm working on this short film." Like I started really looking at his content, seeing what he was doing on social media. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, CJ is so motivated. Like he's so busy, he does so many things in one day. Like I thought I was busy. So I feel like CJ motivates me a lot. You know what I'm saying? He is so organized and like you said, he knows what he wants. And I try to, fill in where I can and make his vision come to life. And I do that with a lot of people. But Yeah, and he's right. We have grown to be friends. CJ, that's my brother from another mother. So I be telling people that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's since I haven't been doing so many shows, um the film industry, I fit in here, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I am a little older, I'm not 20 years old, so that's a lot of the thing, there be 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, in the music industry, and I feel like the film industry is a lot more older people, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say
Yeah.
old, but my
Seasoned.
my age, so it's a lot calmer but exciting as well, and I like to kind of play the background and just make sure everything's cool and be like, oh, what is that, and I don't film, so CJ, like, I'm just kind of watching him in his realm and learning from him, and I've learned a lot, and you know, I feel like it's been a blessing to me in my life as well, to be able to have someone to work with, to meet new people that I would never meet at an artist showcase anywhere, So, and like CJ will put you in, he's like, oh, I'm going to this thing. And I'm like, what? So he stays busy, and I feel like we do work from each other, metal, was that iron sharpens iron?
Mhm.
Or
Yes. Hmm.
yeah,
Still sharp
so
as
I
steel,
do
iron
feel
sharp
like
iron.
we have that
Mhm.
component together, and makes me really want to slow down and work on the things that I really need to work on as far as content for me and my brand, and yeah, so, and then working on the film, like I've learned so much. Like I've done a movie before this, but I've learned so much just in this short amount of time, that will help me in the future with other clients, and other projects that I have that I may work with him on, So yeah, I'm
You never
happy.
stop learning.
And it's just like that. And like that's how everything is when you out and you're
Mm,
you like I've literally had a show and three separate artists that were on that show met at that show. Now they perform together as a group, you know,
damn.
doing that
But
for you.
Yeah.
And it's just little, networkings, little interactions with people that really make the difference.
some things are just meant to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's very much true.
Absolutely.
It's very much true. And my next question, because we've talked about all the good about collaborating, right? This is a beautiful story. Every story is like this. Every collaboration is
Oh
like
no.
this. Am I right?
Yeah. Nah.
So with that said, my question to y'all and CJ, I'm going to have you answer first.
Okay.
What we don't have to get specific unless you want to. If there's a story that just really jumps to mind when I ask this question that you end up wanting to share, and this is again for both of you. What is the biggest pet peeve for you guys when you're working with an artist, whether it's a music artist, another artist of any creative background that you're working with in a collaboration or business venture in general? What's one of the
Hmm.
biggest pet peeves for you guys? And again, you don't have to, but if you have a story that really jumps to mind, we don't have to name names. We could name names. Um, hey, we're outside. We can talk
Hey.
about whatever we want, say whatever we want. So I'll leave that up to y'all. That's a choice that y'all are gonna make or not
You
make.
right. Put the ball in my court, right? Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. No, I got a story. Like I won't give names, but I'll kind of give you the structure and detail of what happened and how that differs from what me and Nisha do. So, or what we have here. So it was me, a partner of mine that does music. He's a hip hop guy, really, 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 really dope. And then also I was working with a engineer, right? Dope engineer. He's fire. Now we all three decided to join and create kind of like a content house where they did, he did the rap and found a few young folks for group and, bring them all in under this umbrella, train them on rapping. We film all the content, do music videos. We have an engineer that engineers everything and then just drop content constantly. And me, I'm like, dope. That's a TV show content, that's music coming out, that's the overall package. And then we can also, actually have projects that come out from these younger artists. So we got the artists found, signed contracts, got them locked in, got the LLC, got all the business together.
Mm-hmm.
And the artists that I was working with begin to, and that's the best way I can explain it, is to get jealous of the younger artists, right? Actually didn't trust the process, was like,
Right.
boy, you need to shoot my videos. Why are you shooting? I'm like, this is what we planned on doing, getting their video shot, shoot the behind the scenes. And he would complain about it on and off camera. Now, remember, we're shooting a reality show of such. And so he didn't like the way he was portrayed as we got to editing the content. But I'm like, bro, this is you. Like, this is what's happening. I got the footage, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it was a few other things, but I'll kind of keep it that way. It's just the jealousy and well, if you put into my project and my business the way you put into them, how far would I be? But as a grown man, I have to tell you, one of the things me and him had to talk man to man. It's like, I've given you free videos, I've supported you, I even let you stay at like, this is my guy, or was my guy, right? You haven't
Feelings shouldn't be coming into this.
well, yeah, but I agree 100%. But even if you take that into account, I've done things for you that I wouldn't do for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I've given you opportunities, like when I've talked to labels and I know somebody that can connect you, I put you there first. And there's always a situation where this, not necessarily jealousy, but just this attitude permeates, and it stops us from growing, and it stops everything from moving. So now I end up disbanding that group, dropping in. I was like, hey, you can keep all them artists, and I just do stuff on my own, right? Two of the artists are working on the project with me. They end up getting out the contracts, coming over to work on the Cost of Beauty with me. So did the engineer. And it's like, there are some other things that happened where it was some kind of bad blood after that, but not because of that situation. That situation was just, I chalked it up to a business situation. We're going to move on. Other things happen. But so I was like, hey, these are the things I want to do. I took the time to do the vlog, to do all of the other content that I wanted, mainly the Cost of Beauty film and documentary. Put it together, something that like a universe around it, something like an ecosystem, so everybody involved can benefit, and we highlight everybody. It's not like it's a CJ thing. Like, it's all about, I want everybody. I don't even like being on camera, so I want everybody else to be more
I'm the same.
out. Exactly. Right. But if a millionaire tell you to do it,
like that either.
you got to do it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, D. I didn't mean to cut you
I
off.
was just saying, I don't like being on camera like that either.
Right. Okay. So I don't feel bad then. But yeah. Yep.
Well, I was just gonna say it's tough because I don't mind it. I don't mind. I don't seek it. Let me say this. I don't seek it. I don't seek it.
Right.
But there's definitely still a comfort level that you have to have putting yourself out there. At
Mike's
the same time
got presence, and he does it well. I think that anyway.
He's really good.
Well, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Get on the vlog.
Hey, bro, we're here.
Us three are just sort of like, when does this end?
Hey, discreet, we're here.
Yeah, y'all are seeing eye to eye, even though he's over the pond. But these are kind of same thing.
It's easy for me.
It is for you because you're out there, bro.
You
live in a painting, literally, bro, where you're at. But Disha, same thing to you. Just a pet peeve of you for people that you're collaborating with. And again, you don't have to mention any names. We're not about. I mean, we could talk about whatever we want when we're outside, but that's not what we're about. But I'm just more curious, specific about if there's any story that jumps to your mind, and just in general, what's a pet peeve of yours when you're trying to be that asset to somebody else who, I don't know, man, they might be putting their own foot in their own mouth, or putting the cart before the horse, whatever the case might be. You know what I mean?
Right. So I do have quite a few pet peeves. So I definitely don't like when people don't show up. Like, I understand that everybody has lives, but you committed to this. Like, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even having to communication is everything. Having to cancel, at least be an adult about things. Let me, hey, I
Yeah,
can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. You know, I don't have to wait till 30 minutes before when I knew 3 days ago that I wasn't going to be there. You know, so it's all about mindfulness. You know, with me, I don't like that. And then I don't like when people hire me and then they don't use me to my abilities, or they'll not listen to me when I'm trying to tell them something. And I'm like, you know, well, why do you need me here?
yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I'm here
That's a
for.
good
You're
You
not
to
going to
listen.
telling you.
Mm,
I get like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And I've experienced that quite a bit in business, because I am a woman and it is predominantly, you know, men, you know, in this industry. So maybe that is a little bit of it. I'm not sure. But
mm.
yeah, those are like my two biggest ones. Like if you're saying you're going to do something, show up and do it, you know, because
Oh,
I'm going to remember that and I'm not going to book you no more. I'm going to be
mm,
sweet as pie to you every time I see you. I'm going to
mhm,
support you, share your shit, but I'm not going to book you. Not with,
exactly. We had a similar situation yesterday, didn't we, Mike? But the big difference with that was Mike let me know about 6 hours before. We were going to do a live yesterday, weren't we, Mike? And
Yeah.
things happened. And but you know, I knew about 6 hours before we were going to go live. So it was all, you know, as long as things are well organised,
hey,
everything's good.
as
You.
long as you communicate with me, hey, Disha, I'm not going to make
The
it.
communication, that's it.
To tell me all your business, you know,
Mm,
just communicate. I can appreciate that. I can be like, hey, they did cancel,
exactly.
but you know what? They let me know they wasn't going to be there. You know, I take that into account, you know?
Mm,
Of
So,
course,
because,
yeah.
it's a part of that process of building those
Yeah.
relationships, especially if you're looking like, and I'm gonna drop some knowledge for everybody watching
Mm,
out here. Listen, the best piece of advice that I can give you to what we were just talking about here, when you're building a team,
mm,
try to build yourself a team that you can build with long term,
yeah.
long term. Because anytime you're building a new relationship, especially when it has to do with, let's be real, people like money, people need money to survive, right? But money's
That
not
is the
necessarily
problem.
always
Yeah.
the first motivator for everybody. All right,
You
so I'm gonna
need
say
it.
this first: when you're building a
Mm,
relationship for your creativeness, listen, those people should have the same foundational passion for what you're doing, right?
mm,
mm,
And that's rare. That's really rare. So when you have somebody like that, like a CJ, like a Disha Young thing, hold on to them and don't
mm,
fuck it up, man. Because if you can build with somebody or somebody's as part of your team long term, it's
mm,
gonna make your experience with whatever you're doing, whether you're a creative, you're an artist, you're running a business because you're just a business person. Think about it from this perspective. Do you want to just build a solid relationship with that one team that you can grow with and evolve with? Or do you want to get with new people every 6 months or not? The the amount of energy that goes into that
mm.
is expensive. And I mean that from an
Yeah.
energy level, but also
yeah,
potentially a dollar level for those people out there who put
point.
the money first. The smartest
Yeah.
thing that you can do is get those people that are down for for you and what you're doing collectively as a group, and then hold on to them. Don't
Mm.
don't miscommunicate or don't not communicate at all, like DC was saying, because
Yeah,
that's gonna. I'm telling you, that's gonna fuck up the relationship. You know,
Oh
it might
yeah.
it might crack it, and there might be another opportunity there for you, but at the same time, there might not be because just like Disha was talking about earlier, with the amount of people that she works with, like time is very valuable to us as creatives, right? And especially if we're
Time is.
passionate about what we're doing. So
right.
You
build
never
yourself a
get it back.
solid team
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
foster those relationships because
Mm,
that's the most important thing that you could really do in any aspect of life of what you're doing, right?
mm.
So with that, my next question is, you guys, stems from, you guys have had that on this project that y'all have been working on, right? You guys have found that. I knew that, CJ, the night I got to meet you at PZ the Don. I think you
Hey,
settled on a name, right? I heard that.
yeah, yeah,
If it's
you're
social
right,
media,
right.
PZ the
PZ the
Don is
Don.
official.
Yep, yep, yep.
About 6 weeks ago, God, probably 2 months ago at this point.
Yeah,
And just you guys were recording for the soundtrack for this short
absolutely.
film that you got going on. And I love that, the beauty to me of getting to share that experience with you from a creative standpoint. That's what you were there for that night. But then as things kind of just evolved, even when I was going to lay my track, you're like, yo, do you mind if I do some filming or whatever? Hell no, bro. That's what you do. Content is content.
Right.
I'm all about that. And you see stuff that other people don't as a creative. I feel like, because you're like, yo, this is just an opportunity. It's new content, new dude I just met. Let's see what becomes of it, right? And I think that's really dope. And I think that's a foundation of how this project that we're going to talk about here real quick in a minute has came about. So with that said, anything that you want to share about this project, CJ, let us know. Again, certainly let us know the name of the title again, and just what it's about and what people could kind of expect from this. And I definitely want to get Disha's thoughts on that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The title is The Cost of Beauty. For a while it was a working title, but we actually decided to go with that title. So, but yeah, it's called The Cost of Beauty. And what the film is about is a young woman that uses her beauty, beauty standards that to benefit herself until the beauty standards begin to take away from who she actually is, until the point where she's unrecognizable, and then she's exploited totally, right? And so we do that in a psychological thriller, fit in with so basically a young woman is put into a situation where she loses her kid, and she has to do certain things to get her child back. So yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main theme of the film. So that also correlates with the soundtrack, which is a pick your own path, choose your adventure type of thing. So it has the prequel to the film. So if you want to learn how she starts, why she started, where she started with the film, you can listen to the first half or the Lexi path on the soundtrack. And if you want to pick the Madame Hoto, which is our villain, then you kind of see she's been alive for 300 years, and she gets her power. She gives and gets power, and it explains how that happens all the way up to the film as well, depending on how you pick it. So the cool thing about the soundtrack, since we're speaking hip hop, is that it's all the beats are created by Oklahoma artists. Also, all the artists on the tracks are from Oklahoma in some sort of way, whether it's Tulsa, they're in other cities, but they are originally from Oklahoma. And these are people that I really rock with, like PZ the Don. I've known him. We went to the grade school together. So I knew him for a while, and I wanted to pick people that cared about music and they were passionate about it the way I'm passionate about film. And so yeah, so we are going to have a showcase when we release the soundtrack, where we're going to have people reading the skits live, and then they pick the song, the whole kind of walk through, so you can pick the path. And we're going to film that, and that'll be live. Back to the film. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's going to be that's going to be pretty cool. But back to the film, the main thing I wanted to do is not necessarily the film itself. It's more about building a ecosystem in a world about it, right? So whether you're the makeup artist, right, we're doing a featurette, a mini doc on you, showing you what you do, and then we add some promo content behind it. Or if you're Disha, or if you're the cinematographer, which is my wife Candace, if you're if you're on the project, you're an actor, on the film, I do these little featurettes as the actor and then as the character. So you get to see the perspective, and you can watch it. Hence why I'm in Tulsa today. I'm working with our engineer on the film that's doing the score and putting everything together. And we're going to do an actual actual featurette interview, and then a mock interview for, the Madame Hoto brand, which basically is a monkey paw. So she gives you something and takes something away. And I drop every Tuesday at 9, I believe, Tuesday at 10. And there's a new one. right? So you get a new monkey paw, some new content for the film, leading all the way up to completion of the film. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll leave it there and leave some room for D.
That was interesting.
That's super cool. And Disha, before I
Yeah.
turn it back over to you, I really love, especially in the day and age that we're in, when there's so much content to create out to consume, excuse me, out there. And you know, in the I forget who said it to me this way, but in the ADHD world that we live in these days, right? You got to get somebody's attention, right? And what I love about the project that you're doing is you're making it interactive. And
Yeah.
I think that's hella cool. That is hella cool. So
That's important.
it
man,
really
appreciate it.
is,
Thank you.
especially to try to gain that audience, whether
Yeah.
new or people who have been following you. It allows you the ability to show people that there's other ways to be doing things that have been done for, you know, in this case,
Grab
making
hold of
films
your audience,
100
basically.
plus years or something like that, right? Give or take.
Right.
So you can evolve in an industry that's been around for so long. So my question to you, Disha, you know, in addition to, you know, thoughts that you've had on this film and the role that you played on it, my first question is: have you ever been a part of a project like this, where a film is kind of interactive, or a soundtrack is even, you know, interactive to that extent? And what's that been like for you?
No, CJ is definitely innovative in his thinking and the way that he is marketing for the film. I would have never thought of some of the things that he's came up with, you know, and I did work on a film before, and we did do a soundtrack, and you know, we did do the previews, and you know, marketed it in that way. But CJ is definitely, like I said, innovative in his thinking, with the documentary, with the you know prequels, with the soundtrack. He even put me like a part of like one of my interviews in the soundtrack, and I was like, okay,
Oh,
CJ,
yeah.
you. Like he
That's
just
what's up.
things that
Yeah.
I would have never thought about. Yeah, it's dope. And like I said, I've learned a lot, and I'm excited to do another project. Um, so this project, it has been running pretty smoothly, you know. Really, the only problems I feel like I've ran into when it comes to this project is, you know, people's time, you know. Schedule is always one of the biggest things. It's hard to get everybody on the right track, especially if you have a scene with quite a few people involved. Just having everybody there on that day. So, but CJ makes it easy the way that he lays everything out. He, you know, and it sends me the notes. Like he makes my job so easy.
Teamwork. You make mine, so you know reciprocation.
Yeah,
Well, that's synergy right there, right? You know, so
Yeah.
how, you know, what that's exactly what that is. That's synergy. So how do you feel synergy is important? You know, just kind of generally speaking, since we're kind of diving into that a little bit.
well, I've definitely worked on projects where there was no synergy. So I definitely believe in I said, and it makes things run smoother where everybody's comfortable. And I feel like people have to learn when they're working with other people, especially this is CJ's project. This is CJ's baby. CJ made this, he put this together, you know, and so I want to respect it, and I want it to be how he wants it to be, not how I
Exactly.
feel like people are working in teams, they kind of lose sight of that, you know. You know, because I feel like if it was my vision, he's gonna be like, okay, Deesh, how you want it and how it needs to be, you know.
Yeah.
So finding that synergy within a project already is great. So because people sometimes can't find that, and I've worked in projects where it's messy, and every meeting I'm like, ooh, I do not want to go. Like somebody go get an argument today.
Yeah.
I
I
can
know
appreciate that.
exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, man, truth. And CJ, kind of just same thing, you know, real quick, respectively, you know, if what's the main difference on a project that you've had synergy, which it sounds like very much is going on here with the Cost of Beauty, versus, you know, maybe a project that really didn't have any synergy? What was the biggest difference that you noticed between those two scenarios?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've had a project before, another film project, where I'm hired to be a director. I go there. I'm told to do lighting, which is fine. You know, I don't mind doing it. Then be a camera operator, and then don't input to the story even though some of the aspects didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it was just an argument. And it's not just me; that's coming from the whole team. You know, the writer and the financier were like, "Hey, this could be better." You know, you know, we had an extra writer there saying, "Hey, this should be changed." And it was just an argument every day because he's like, "Well, this is not what's on the page, but what's on the page didn't make sense, right?" So what I've learned from that experience, and as far as synergy is, you can't be stuck in your vision. Hence why I bring my wife in for cinematography, because I know my brain goes everywhere. And sometimes I'm speaking fast, and Deisha's like, I don't know what you're talking about, folks. Saying, I know what Candace is there. She's like, he means, man, she can break it down, which is that
She's like your
femininity.
translator. She's like the translator.
You know what? Hey, perfect, right? A mind reader, really. So yeah, and she can break it down and explain it to folks like this is what he sees to the vision. So even if it's on the page, and I admit I'm not the best of writers, I get the concept and I want to leave room for people to kind of freestyle.
Yeah.
And so I also need to, you know, I've learned. So I have 7 different films I working on. This is the first one, but they're connected to 7. So I wrote 7, and it's a whole universe and whole thing, right? But disregarding that, I've grown as a writer then, but to go back and look at this one, I'm like, so I'm always tweaking it. Every time we come, I'm like, I'm tweaking and changing it, and it's updated. And I just gotta live with what it is, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll have it grow with input from everyone. So as we're on 7, like, what do you think? How do you think? And then I'll make the final decision after I get an aggregate of views. And that's one thing that I learned with synergy. So this is not just my final say.
I can appreciate that very much. So one thing, I heard a lot of things there, but one thing that stuck out to me that you said, it kind of sounds like you're building your own passion universe, akin to like a Marvel universe. Like, are we gonna start seeing multiverses from CJ? So I'm excited where we're going, especially with the innovation that you've got going, bro. I'm just putting it out there, whatever that means, bro.
Right.
But I appreciate that response.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to touch on, you obviously talked about the soundtrack, all Oklahoma artists, right? So I want to talk about that real quick with both of you, because not only with the soundtrack, CJ, as we talked before we actually went live, you have filmed many music videos for some hip hop artists out there and different other artists as well. Deisha, you know, as you had mentioned, you work with a lot of different hip hop artists, being in Oklahoma, being there for a minute. And you know, we had Mario Johnson. He's out in Tulsa. Got 6 months or so, and we asked him the same question. Because every region, right, has a sound, and that's one thing that Discreet and I always talk about in hip hop history. When we do our segments and we look back, one thing that I miss about the 90s anyways, and which is why I appreciate independent music and underground music, if you will, as well, because, you know, for me, when you go back to the 90s, like when you heard an artist, you had an inkling, even if you know, you either knew who they were because of their sound, or even if you didn't know them, you were like, yo, that's an East Coast artist, that's a West Coast artist. When Southern hip hop started coming around with Outkast, like, yo, they're from the South, you know, they're chopping and screwing, they're from Houston. You know, they got that big bass, they're from Florida, you know what I mean? So and Mario answered that for us. But I've got 2 people that are very tapped into the hip hop scene going on right now in Oklahoma. And for the year and a half that I was there, I noticed that. I saw that. I got to experience it a little bit as well. But if you guys can, and Deisha, I'm gonna let you answer first, and then we're gonna come back to CJ. Can you do your best to kind of describe what that Oklahoma sound really is for people that might not be really in tune? Because there's some shit going on in Oklahoma. I know that. And I'm just curious for you to share your thoughts. What does an Oklahoma artist sound like?
Man, that's a difficult question. I feel like we don't have an acquired sound. Like, I feel like we are very integrated. We're in the middle of everything. So we get a little bit of everything when it comes to creating music and being a creative, just in a sense. So I don't feel like because I've seen so many different artists and I've heard so many different people that have their own unique sounds and kind of what they're doing. And I feel like that's really what Oklahoma's been trying to do is kind of find our sound. And, because when you think about Oklahoma, the first thing you think about is country artists.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing you think about. You don't think about soulful artistry. You don't think about, musicians we may have or artists that we may have. You think country music. So I feel like that's what Oklahoma's doing right now is just working on their branding. So when we come out, we can be like, hey, we are versatile. Because we have people that aren't, they didn't just grow up in Oklahoma. They're artists. They came from other places. I've met people from Arkansas, people from Florida,
Yep.
from
Mm-hmm.
Cali, who will have their own, sound. But yeah, I don't feel like we have a particular sound.
I can appreciate that. CJ, your thoughts on what that sound may or may not be coming out of Oklahoma?
So I would say the sound depends on the generation. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
if you get an older, like my generation or older, they have a different sound. It's more of the Texas kind of sound mixed with Chicago. They, man, hold up. You can get some of that old freestyle kind of style. And obviously we can do different styles, but generally that's kind of how we go, like painting the picture, giving street gospel kind of feel, right? And if you go to the younger generation, as I work with them and shoot videos and I'm learning, you got anywhere from grunge rap all the way to trap rap, gang rap, like more of the LA bass. So it's just on a different type of beat. And that's the thing. They'll take like an Atlanta type beat and rap like they're in LA on it. It's a weird mesh, and it's unique. Let's put it that way. And I love it, right? Like I love the older and the younger. Now, me partial, I like folks my age because we got the R&B going, the hip hop going, and when you listen to the soundtrack, we got country, R&B, we got everything that you want on that soundtrack. Like the whole feel of the soundtrack is Oklahoma, and that's one thing that I really like. I took different styles from everybody that I was plugged in with that I know that actually lives what they talk about and feel the music and are part of the culture. So you get the Oklahoma culture wrapped up in a Oklahoma film. So not to take it back there, but I think the sound is a unique blend, like Disha was saying, of different cultures that we make it our own. I would say older would be Chicago, kind of Texas mixed, like Chicago type beats with Texas mixed. And the new style is just kind of like that internet mashup of where you're grabbing, Atlanta heavy bass 808s, mixing it with kind of maybe some YG, and you may get some deep like Kendrick, right? And then you got some one-offs too in there. So, but yeah, that's what I would explain as far as listening to all the songs that's sent to me. Like, can you make a music video out of this? And I got to listen 100 times. So, that's what you get.
I can very much appreciate that. So my follow-up question to you guys, and CJ, we're going to stick with you, and then Disha, I definitely want you to answer this question as well. From everything that we just talked about, who are some maybe Oklahoma hip hop artists, maybe even R&B artists, just artists in general, within the culture that some people should maybe keep an eye on or know about that might not be so known today, outside of that maybe local area, if you will. CJ, I'm gonna have you answer that first.
Gotcha, local area. So I tell folks all the time, this is my favorite artist, hands down. Me personally, now I can't speak for anybody else, but just who I listen to every day. I play on any set that I'm on. People listen. Zay Loud Pack. That is my hand. I've talked to him multiple. I just did an interview with him. Yeah, he's my favorite, hands down, because he's talented. He writes for a lot of people. He has a lot of placements that's going on different shows. You hear him behind the scene. He did the country song on our soundtrack. So yeah, definitely Zay Loud Pack. I would go number one. He's a little older, but really talented, really, really good. Does a whole lot of, he has all the way from country, R&B, the new age R&B hip hop style that is like rapping, singing. I can't even explain it. He let me hear the Loud Pack 3 that came out. Amazing. I love Loud Pack 2 and Loud Pack 1. One, they're all good. And then he has a true R&B where he's really just deep diving with Jay Silk, right? There's another artist that they're collabing.
How do you spell that then, CJ?
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
How do you spell that name you just said? Is it?
J Silk,
Yeah.
Jaysilk. Silk. Yeah, yep, that's right.
No, it's
J
just
Silk.
the pack at the end. I just thought that
Oh,
could be.
Zay Loudpack. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Pack. Yep, yep. Just Loud and Packzay.
Got
Yep, yep.
yeah.
And I'll share the links to him as well. So I think Zay Loudpack is dope. For our older generation, because I'm R&B guy, and then a younger, you got Breezy the Heartless, and you got Kilo D, right? Along with Mia Tia, for if you want some of the ladies flavor in there. So yeah, those are the people that I rock with. I know they're dope. I know they're solid, and their music is fire too. I mean, we got a host, but those are the ones that I'm rocking with.
Of course, I can appreciate that. Disha, same thing to you. Anybody that you're just really feeling, or just in general that people should know about out of that Oklahoma area.
Oh my God. I know so many artists. It's so hard
It's
to even
hard.
try to pick through them, to be honest. So R&B, I would probably give that to Tracy. I like Tracy's music.
Tracy's dope.
And he be dancing. I'm like, ooh boy, do that thing.
Mm.
So I like him. When it comes to rap, well, even Wavy, I feel like Wavy Baby, a lot of people, he kind of is doesn't get as much as he should, because he's very talented. Like, I've seen him literally like make up a song like in the studio, recorded everything we done. I feel like he should get his flowers because he's definitely a talented artist. I love Wavy Baby, but I'm kind of, I'm pushing 40, so I do, listen to a lot more kind of slow jams. I'll be thugging too, don't get me wrong, but uh, he's definitely one of my favorites. So Tracy, Wavy. When we think about rap, I would say someone that I listen to, Reese B. He locked up, free that boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um, Definitely dope. If he continues with his artistry, I would definitely follow him, listen to him. Um, I don't know. There's so many.
There's a
I would
lot.
literally like send y'all like so many people because
Yeah.
um oh um Sky High. She works for Taylor Made.
Yeah.
Uh,
She's dope.
she's kind of like a pop rap artist. I
Hmm.
like her
okay.
style. I like the videos that they've been doing. I like,
Hmm.
you don't really see her at a lot of shows, but when she does pop out, she's, full outfit. I like artists that when they show up, they look like artists, that they put some umph into it.
Hmm.
They ordered this outfit. They've come with the entourage. You know what I'm saying? They played the part. So
Yes,
Yeah.
something that I enjoy about Sky High.
that's open, and I think that's important, right? Because when you're an artist, especially a performing artist, like you were just describing, you've got to play that part, right? And that includes having an ego. And what I mean by that, not in the sense where somebody's like, oh, you got an ego. Like there's gotta be an ego for that
You got to
specific
have some
part being played,
character,
right? Or
some
that character.
charisma,
Like,
and
yeah,
it builds trusted character, isn't it?
you have to. It's no different than when you're making a film. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I might come and be an actor in your film, but I'm not playing, Mikey P or Mike Palavra in your film,
Mm.
Charlie, unless we're doing a
Right.
documentary or something like that, which means,
Right.
so if I'm going to play a role, I've got, as a creative, you have to get into the mind of what that ego, if you will, of who this
Being an
persona
artist.
is, of
Yeah.
being that artist, right? Because it's an
Right.
outlet for us as
100%.
people, and I think that needs to be shed in the positive light, because typically when people hear, oh, that they got an ego, well, in order to do some special things in life, especially if you're going to take on a persona of what you were creating from your artistry, you have to have an ego. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but
No.
you've got to have that brand, right? You've got to be on brand, so to speak, especially if you're looking to be sustainable, which is something that you were talking about earlier in the conversation, Disha, respectively. Like, in order, Discreet and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago in our hip hop history segment, that in order to have sustainability, like from an artist standpoint, a music artist standpoint, realistically, if you're looking to have a sustainable career, it can cost you anywhere between $50,000 to $80,000, $90,000 per year to sustain it. If you really want to try to make something a business, let's call it, if you want to make this a business and this is like the only thing that you're doing, that's really, it's realistically what it takes. So I shared a thought that, you know, in order to do that, you need to find a foundational fan base of 1,000 fans who are willing to rock with you to the point where they will spend $100 a year on you, whether that's going to a show, whether that's spending money on your merch, whether that's a t-shirt or a pressed CD or album or tape, because that's coming back these days too. People are loving that nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
And if you can do that, then you have sustainability. But like any business, any other, because that's what it is, it's a business. In order to make that grow to what you want it to be, you have to execute, you have to run it like a business. And I think that's something that a lot of people you know, take for granted, because yes, you have these viral sensations, but that's all it is. It's a viral sensation. Sometimes other people who are smart enough can turn that into sustainability, but having that 15 minutes of fame, that's not going to do it all. Let's talk about this real quick. Remember that Hawk Twa girl from last year?
Right.
She had her 15 minutes of fame. She was getting a podcast, all this shit. She ended up losing her job, this, that, and the other thing. What's she doing now? Hawk Twan. That's what she's probably doing. Respectfully. And, you know, so like again, the point is that that was a slight joke, kind of.
This is what she's doing.
But the point is, you have to build something that's sustainable, right? And that's what artistry is, if you want. So I thought that was you know, relevant to say. Is that something that you guys? And I'm gonna ask all three of you. Charlie, aka CJ, Patrick, your thoughts on that? Something you subscribe to, see some kind of truth in, or you're just like, hey, fuck you, Mike. What the hell you smoking on, bro?
Yeah. No, you're good. I definitely agree with sustainability. It's just it all depends on your work ethic as well, right? So it's about starting something and being able to continue it. Even if it gets boring, even if it gets monotonous, if you can keep presenting, going out and being who you are, right? Or presenting that person. And it helps when you are that person, when you don't have to pretend to be. If you naturally hang around with people that are in your circle and you guys are out and you're out, you know, not an introvert, you're out talking to folks, then it works, right? Or if you're like me, like I'm a type of person, I like to hang out with my team, network when I can, but mainly, you know, vlog about me working because I work all the time. I got a full-time job, got the 3 businesses. I'm out networking, I'm out shooting. I help other people with their business. I'm working all the time because I enjoy to work. So when you see me, you're going to see me working, and you don't have to see me, you know, fronting and faking like I'm somebody else. I just work. And so people see my work, they enjoy my work, and so that's what I present to the world. So I think that's easier to be you know, sustained, or so people to understand what you're doing and respect you when you're yourself. So
Exactly.
I appreciate that. Disha, same thoughts. Did you feel any truth with what I was saying there with respect to sustainability, and how do you feel sustainability is just important to somebody who's trying to build their artistry for the long term as well?
I mean, you got to have it, you know, within your brand. And I feel like sustainability kind of comes with, because you go through phases, you know, when you're doing this, when you're building a brand, when you're building a business. So sustainability will come and go. I'm aware of that because I've been through it, you know, just like you were saying earlier, I changed my name. You know, I don't go by that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, it's important. I think I just try to stay centered in the things that I know that I'm doing, and the relationships and bonds that I'm building with the people that I work with, and you know, keep it pushing like that.
No, I can appreciate that, because one thing that you said reminded me of a reel that I saw from the hip hop legend Richie Rich. Shout out shout out to King Richie Rich. He said the other day he put out a reel, and he said exactly what you said there, Disha. You know, it's, you know, this ride that we're on with respect to sustainability or our artistry or what we're doing as business and life in general, right? It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. You're gonna have those ups, you're gonna have those downs. But the sustainability becomes important when you have sustained things for a long enough period, or you've built that foundation long enough where you're going to be able to get through when you're going into that valley instead of coming up to that peak, right? Because if people, you know, hit that peak real quick and then boom, if there's no sustainability, well, where's that additional, you know, either creativity or funds coming from to fund whatever future artistry that you want as well?
Yeah.
So it was just, I think worth saying, because he said it best. It's a roller coaster. We are on the life is a roller coaster. Business is a roller coaster. Disha, you said it the best way possible. Artistry, you're on a roller coaster. Let's look at some people, you know, Britney Spears, Justin Bieber, yep, in the hip hop world, X-Rated. Like, let's look at somebody like X-Rated real quick, who has dealt with what he's dealt with, and you know, experienced what he did, and you know, he came out of where he was, and man, you know, it's just so different than what people once knew him as, right? And you know, being on brand or pivoting, I think, is important to that sustainability, which is very much something, Disha, that you said as well, because you got to ride the wave, and sometimes you got to pivot in a different direction as well. And these are people who've been doing it for a long time, a very like 30 plus years, like 30 plus years. Like that comes with sustainability, because they had the ability to sustain themselves through those valleys when things weren't the hottest going on right then in that given moment, right?
Right.
So I thought that's important. But
there's been times in my career where I'm like, my logo would be on like 20 flyers for the month, you know, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm just going and going and going. But now I'm like, my logo isn't anywhere on any flyers, and I'm cool with that. You know, I'm cool with doing a job, working on it, and not putting my logo on the flyer. You know, I feel like there was times that I would be sad. I'd be like, well, they didn't put my logo on the flyer, you know. Now I'm like, I don't give a fuck about my logo being on that flyer, you know.
I've
So
done the same with my tag on my beats. I used to have a tag on my beats. I don't bother no more.
like, I'm find out what's important and what's not, what's
Exactly.
what's not, you know, and it's a trial and error process. So
Good point. Good point.
Nah, most definitely, man. Most definitely. We're gonna start to wind down here in a little bit. We don't want to keep you guys outside too long. There's multiple holidays going on, so we want to you know, respectfully let you guys get onto your holidays and the work that I'm sure that you guys got going on today, as well. But as we wind down, I'm gonna ask you this one last thing, and I'm gonna let I'm discreet any final words that you have. I'm gonna let the both of you guys respectively, CJ and Disha, you know, ride the rest of the show out, because it's your show at the end of the day. We're just here to facilitate it. What's, you know, from all the experiences that you guys have had with your respective artistries, and things that you do that plays into your artistry, every aspect, and we talked about a lot of it today, you know, finding synergy, finding the right collaboration, having the grind, having the drive, having the business mindset to have that sustainability, that Discreet just mentioned, we were just talking about. What's maybe just one simple or just a general piece of simple advice that you guys would give to people who, again, just like we said at the top with you, CJ, whether they're just starting out doing this, or even if they've been doing this for a minute, what is some general advice that you would be able to share from your experiences that has helped you on your path?
Yeah, honesty, right? Honesty with yourself, honesty with any clients, honesty about what you truly want. So a lot of times we're so excited to be in the field or get this opportunity that we're not 100% honest. Like, hey, I need X amount of dollars, or I need, you know, this to get this done. We're like, nah, I'll make it work with whatever I got. I'm so happy to work with you. I'm so happy for this opportunity. But you need to, you know, have your goals, be honest, and tell the other person, and be willing to lose an opportunity because it isn't the right opportunity, instead of trying to fit into an opportunity that's not made for you in the first place. So, yeah, honestly.
Appreciate that. Disha, and anything that you'd like to share on that question?
I got a follow up behind that. I don't know. No, I would say in this industry to just stick with it. I know that there's been lots of times where I'm like, I'm not doing this shit no more.
Mm.
And I know it
Yeah.
sounds so cliche,
Hmm.
but you really have to be consistent. You have to stick with it. You have to trust the process. You have to believe that, you're going to reach the pinnacles that you want, and,
Yeah.
set goals for those, and make sure that you're reaching your goals, that you're working towards your goals, because without the work, you're not going to get, what you want. So,
Mhm.
just stay diligent, stay grinding, and keep true to what you want. And, even though your ideas of what you want might change, always stay with your first mind on what you're wanting to do with your business or whatever you're doing, your artistry.
Yeah.
I can very, very much
And make sure
appreciate
you're
that.
passionate as well. I always find that whatever you want to do, make sure you're passionate about it first, because there's
Mm.
loads of things you've got to do and there's loads of hurdles to jump. But the moment if you come across a hurdle and you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, it's like, well, did you have the passion in the first place? Make sure you've got the passion to want to bash down anything in front of you. That's what I say.
Yeah, when you don't want to be there, and
Mm.
there are going to be some days people are like, well, if this
Oh
is,
yeah.
there's going to be days where you're like, I do not want to go
Mm.
do it.
Hmm.
But you show up and you do it anyway because you
Exactly.
understand that it's all a part of, the process.
Mm.
And
No,
trust me,
Exactly that.
yeah. Yeah,
No.
I 100% agree. And going along with the process is that the fear of failure. Don't be afraid to fail. Actually
No.
accept it. It's a learning lesson. It took me so long to
It'll
learn
help
that, but
you
once
get better. If you do
right,
something that's not very good, it will help you get better.
Hmm.
right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
Agree. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. I was just saying that.
Yeah, no. So yeah, that's one thing that took me so long to learn. It's just failure is it's okay. You accept it, learn
Mm.
it. We're gonna fail and then grow from it. So that's that second part of that. But that is a nugget and something that hold dear to my heart. A few books I read that kind of helped me get through
Mm.
that. If I can speak to that.
No, I subscribe to that, bro.
Right.
You got to embrace that failure, because there's lessons and learning, like you
Yeah.
were so beautifully saying, like real talk.
Mm.
It's part of life. You're not going to win at everything that you do. Nobody is going to win at every single
No.
thing that they do. And I think the quicker that an artist or a visionary or a business person can
You only find out if
comprehend
you
that.
try.
Exactly. Like it's
Mm.
sales. Like everything we do in life, no matter what our job is, it's sales, because we're selling
Yep.
ourselves, our
Yeah.
service, our product. It's sales, whether we like to admit that or not. And like when I was in actual sales as like my career, like I'll
Mm.
use a perfect example. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, right? So I was literally selling cable, back in early 2000s or so. I would literally go to somebody's door, knock on their door, and be like, hey, I'm Mike with Optimum. Let me try to take you away from your Direct TV or Dish or whatever, right?
Right.
And for me, I had to understand what the numbers were. And like it was simple. Like, in order to get that one sale, which would translate into some nice money for me, I got to go through that process like we've been talking about. So that
Mm.
process for me was, well, I got to knock 50 doors in order to find 10 people that I can actually talk to. Because again, in a
Mm.
perfect world, yeah, everybody's home when you knock, but people have lives, people work, people do shit outside of that. You know,
Mm.
knock 50 doors, get 10 people to speak to, and that should translate into one sale. If you're really good at what you do, that might translate into more, but that's the general rule of thumb. If you want to get that one sale, 50
Right.
doors knocked, talk to 10
Yeah.
people, get you
Yep.
that one sale. And I think it's,
Yeah.
yeah, like, right, that's what it is in artistry, because you're
Mm.
especially an artist, if whatever it is that you're doing, some people are gonna like, appreciate, understand what you're doing, and some people are just not gonna get it. But that's the beauty about art. If you're being
Yeah.
passionate and true to yourself
You've
about
got
it,
to go find out.
Yep.
Mm.
your art and your thoughts and your heart, they're gonna speak to the right people if you're
Yeah.
intentional with the art that you're putting out there. Which means, guess what? Everybody that hears it or sees it or views it, they're not gonna like it. But that's the beauty of it. They're not supposed to, because your art is meant for those people who
Right.
get it or
Yeah.
understand
And
it,
you're just on the
whatever that means.
100%.
hunt for them people.
Yeah, no,
And
100%, 100%. There's a book by Napoleon Hill called The Language of Thought. That book, it it has a lot of good principles and things, but the number one thing that I've taken from that is collecting 100 no's a month. So whether it's
Mm.
in whatever business I'm in, whether it's going to network, getting no's, and it's actually trying to get the no's. But interesting thing I've learned since I've been doing that for a year is when you go out and try to get the no's, you get so many yeses in return that hey, you love the no's. So yep, that exactly go for no. So yeah,
No.
100%. That's, I mean, I think we're saying the same thing, like we're knocking the doors, but trying to get music videos, going with the films, finding a great casting director, right? You feel how you ask a lot of people to just no, and then you give like, nah, I don't do it, or nah, that sounds crazy, but I know somebody, and you find the right person and you gain that synergy, right? And so and then you get to be outside. You see? So
right?
exactly. Right.
Because it's the yin to the yang. There's not a yes without that no. So go for that'd be, jumping off what you said, that would be my advice from that. Go for the no. Go out there today, whatever the hell it is that you're doing, whoever's seeing this right now in this moment, and go out and get as many no's as you can today, because that is going to lead to the yeses that'll build that sustainability that we've been talking about earlier today as well. Right.
100%.
So, with that said, we're about to close the door on the outsiders. We're going to let you all get back to your respective days. But one thing I definitely want to know, is there any information that you might be able to share about CJ or Disha about when we can maybe start to expect this soundtrack from The Cost of Beauty, or the short film
Yeah.
The Cost of Beauty itself, and anything else that you might be have going on as well? And then again, please let everybody outside know where they can find you, both respectively as well, out on the social media platforms. Disha, we're going to come to you secondly. CJ, go ahead and let us know what information that you can on The Cost of Beauty and when we can expect some stuff to be dropping.
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now it is scheduled to be done with ADR and literally scoring. Everything should be done and prepped for November, so we can have we have the film festival run and kind of run through, and it's a little more of a psychological thriller. We're going to try to push trailers out in October, try to get prepped for some of the film festival for horror films. So we're gonna try to work that, but November is the date to actually have it turned in to Film Hub. That's for the actual film. The soundtrack itself, I'm actually here with the engineer. Like I said, I drove down to Tulsa today to sit in with him. So our goal is by the end of May to have that done, and then start having the shows and have different videos. I have a video for May 5th lined up to be shot. I'm working with a dope drone operator from New York. He's coming down doing the first person shoot VR, where he wears like the helmet. So yeah,
Yep.
but yeah. So he's gonna design this whole set where he's going around the artists filming them, and it's gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna document that. That's gonna be on the page. So yeah, end of May when the film I mean, with the soundtrack, which is pretty much done. All of the skits are done. We have all of the music except for one chorus that we're waiting on, and once we get that, we're gonna mix and master everything, put it all together. So I'm dropping the tape off or the hard drive off today for that. The documentary, which I didn't get a whole lot into, that one I am shooting the final two interviews today. So I will be done with the documentary, which is basically is the concept of the film, The Cost of Beauty. The real Cost of Beauty is actually putting that into practical knowledge. So I've interviewed all the way 5-year-old ladies or young women, all the way up to 95-year-old women, and got their perspective on beauty, standards,
That's dope.
That's
makeup,
cool.
and then from different cultures, different countries. Does America have the harshest beauty standards? Is it Russia? Is it China? So we got some really good, interesting conversations with that, and it leads off to a twist as well. So you take the first 6 to 7 questions, and after that, it's talking like, how would you like makeup? Because the whole thing is about makeup and being beauty and different things. But one of the questions is, how do you feel about having this makeup on? Would you like sacrifice it for a job? And a lot of the ladies are like, yeah, no, it's no problem. I can take it off. And then we go into the more personal questions. But in order to do this section, you have to remove all exterior makeup, lashes, hair. If you have any of that, all of that on camera, and be vulnerable. Now, you don't have to do it, but then you won't do the other
Mm-hmm.
option, but there is an option to do. And we had a few women do it, and man, were they brave and bold, and it was just so dope. And then the reactions of some of the folks that won't do it, we keep the cameras rolling. You get to
I
see them.
love it.
Woo, it's good. It's good. Yeah. So that one I'm really excited. Like I said, that one will be coming out soon. But you got to get releases and all that stuff for
Of
everybody
course.
once we cut it down. So I'll be shooting the last scene for that today. So the last 2 interviews. So yeah, absolutely. So I'll let y'all know on the date. You can find me. Passion Projects is where 2020 on Instagram, Passion Projects 2020 on YouTube, along with TikTok and anywhere else you want to find me. I'm going to be on Tubi, Film Hub. Obviously, is going to spread it to Apple, Amazon Prime after we get through all of the film festival runs, and then yep. So there you go. If I missed anything, yeah, nah, we got a lot of stuff going. So if I miss anything, I'll leave it up to Disha to kind of fill in there.
You go, Disha, take it away.
Anything.
Cool.
We still are filming. We're in the middle of filming. Our cast is great. The star, her name is Amelia. She's been great. V is definitely an asset. Her co-star Tasha, which is Mia,
Right.
live, I believe, every Monday.
Oh yeah.
As a music review. So if any artists want to hop in, get with Mia Tia. She's great. So yeah, and you can find me on Facebook, Disha Young Thang, on Instagram, Disha BY_Onyx ENT, and that's Onyx 2 X's.
We're gonna make sure we get that shared in our comment section here today, and I appreciate that. Before we let you go, Discreet, any final thoughts or takeaways that you want to share from the dope ass guest that we had today with CJ and of course Miss Disha Young Thang? Let us know what your thoughts were and takeaways, Discreet.
Yeah, just listening to all of that, it just reminds me, as long as you're passionate, you can do anything you want, anything you really want to do, and you've got the passion to just get through anything you've got to get there. You can do it easily. It's actually easy if you're passionate enough, I think.
No, I very much agree. So I appreciate you sharing
100%,
those thoughts there.
100%.
And Disha, before you hopped on earlier, I had already said that we've been obviously we brought it up quickly when we were on today. We got to get you on the show. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna send you a text message. I still got your number, but I got a new number before I moved to Kansas City. So I'm gonna shoot you a message. But we have May 18th open. If you want to come out and open that door, we would love to have you pop out. Just you and let's talk, because again, like I said earlier in the show, the energy that I got from you the first time I met you on that Content Thursday is really no different experiencing it through a screen today. And you are the ideal type of person, no different than CJ is, that fits the mold of the conversations that we want to have with the people that we want to have when we're outside. So it doesn't have to be May 18th. I'm just letting you know that's next available Sunday. We could work out whatever works for your schedule, but I'll shoot you a message after this and we'll reconnect that way, because kind of like you said at one point with CJ, having a whole lot of things going on, when you got to talk to him a little more, that's where I'm at right now. And when you were talking earlier, reminding me of what it is that you really do and are capable of, there's some things that I'd like to share that are in the works right now. CJ knows what's up. Discreet knows what's up. That I think you would fit your brand of what you like to get yourself into.
Definitely.
And I just want to share those with you, because there's a lot of dope shit going on right now. And again, we're outside. Y'all are officially We Outside family members at this point, and our family eats together, right? So if it makes sense, I'm always going to share it with anybody. And I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing y'all in Kansas City here soon enough. So we'll talk more behind the scenes on that, because there's a lot of dope shit that both y'all very much fit right into going on. So I like so much, though. I'm even trying to get Discreet. Well, Discreet's already got his passport, but now we got to get him a working visa so he could come out to Kansas City with what we got going on here as well. So
that'd be dope.
We're gonna link up. But man, for real. But on that note, literally again, from myself and Discreet and everybody that opened the door with us today, or anybody that's going to open the door in the future, this will always live on our YouTube channel. So if you want to share it with anybody that might not been able to tap in because of the holidays going on today.
Right.
You know, you'll have the ability to share that with them, cut it down. If you want any of the raw video, just let me know. I can always send it to you. Obviously, it's gonna be a long file. So you might just want to go download it off of YouTube yourself, but I got you with whatever you need. And most importantly, we not only appreciate you guys taking the time to get outside with us today, but we appreciate your authentic, organic conversation and your answers that we shared collectively today, because that's exactly what this live cast is about. You know, getting with real people, real visionaries, real people out there making shit happen and doing it in an organic and authentic way and manner. So
Likewise.
we're here.
Definitely.
We're followers, we're fans, and we're excited to see what continues to come from you both. And again, this door is always open to you. So if you guys ever have anything going on that you want to talk about, just, you don't got to knock on the door. The motherfucker's open for you. Open it, let us know, and you got a platform anytime that y'all want to come out and talk with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I really
No
appreciate it.
problem.
No, we
Thank you.
appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Discreet, I will get up with you. Disha, you're getting a message as soon as we hang up on this thing.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
You
Peace.
too.